Hey, welcome in. You're listening to the weekend edition of the Coeur Economics Report. This program is the entire program is originating from the East Coast. We are at the Hard Asset Conference right now, right off of Times Square in New York. I'm chatting with my friend Bill Howald. Bill is the president of a company called Rye Patch Gold. I have to say a couple of things in the interest of full disclosure. Big Al bought stock in Rye Patch a while ago out of the open market, point number one. Point number two, Rye Patch is a sponsor on our website. What does that mean? That means if you want to get more information on the company, just click on the banner. I like these guys a lot. Why do I like these guys a lot? Purely and simply because of their properties in Nevada, number one, and number two, because of their staff. Bill and his partner truly know what they're doing, and they know how to hire the support staff that they need that truly knows what they are doing. Bill, let's start out. Talk a little bit, if you would, about your properties in the state of Nevada.
Yeah, thanks, Al. Thanks for having me on. The company has 7 projects located in Nevada. In fact, it does business only in the state of Nevada. And we're trying to build 2 trend scale opportunities. The first is our Oriana trend, and I'd like to say that's kind of where our bird in hand is. That's where all of our resources are. We've got 1.2 million ounces of measured and indicated and 2.7 million ounces of inferred, all gold and gold equivalent. And we just recently acquired another property called the Rochester property along the trend, which is in and around most of Coeur d'Alene Mines operating Rochester mines. So there we've acquired additional ounces that are not 43-101 at this time, but we're working on that. And then in addition, we're providing some updates for our Wilco and Lincoln Hill properties, which are immediately adjacent to the Rochester mine.
You know, what really drew me to the company, Bill, is first and foremost the management team, as I mentioned earlier. Give us a little bit about your background and your partner's background, would you?
Sure. Both Joe and I have been actively involved in the mining industry for the last 25 to 30 years. Joe had a junior company called Nevada Pacific. It was purchased by Rob McEwen back in 2005.
Nevada Pacific was a real success story, yeah.
Yeah, it was, and that was purchased outright by McEwen as part of his Nevada consolidation strategy. I came out of Placer Dome. Placer Dome, as you know, was acquired back in late 2005 by Barrick Gold. Joe and I had a business relationship between Placer and Nevada Pacific. That's how we met. Both of us were out of a job at the end of 2005, and we formed Rye Patch Gold in April of 2006.
Interesting situation. Now, in terms of the properties in Nevada themselves, one of the things that should draw people, in my mind, and this is not investment advice, but that should draw you to Nevada, really, is the fact that of all of the states, including Alaska, the best governmental support, the friendliest state from an environmental standpoint, definitely Nevada.
No doubt about it. I like to think there are 5 quality drivers to an economic deposit. You know, one is obviously jurisdiction. Nevada's a good jurisdiction. The other one is infrastructure, and Nevada has all the mining infrastructure you could ever wish for. You know, the other things really revolve around the deposit itself, which are geometry, grade, and metallurgy. But really, infrastructure in Nevada is key. You know, at our Oriana Trend projects and our Cortez Trend projects, we've got people, power, and water really close to those areas, and that makes it a lot easier to build in the mine.
Let's talk a little bit about capital. You know, we've talked about the asset, we've talked about the people. We know that people have the ability to raise money, which in addition to being technically competent is very, very important. But let's talk about your capital on hand right now, Bill.
Right, we started 2012 with $7 million in the bank. We've got a $5 million program, which is really broken down to $3 million on the Oriana trend and $2 million along the Cortez trend. In addition to that, as you know, because of our acquisition of the Rochester property, we're in a lawsuit with Coeur d'Alene Mines Corporation. So we've dedicated $500,000 to that legal dispute, and that should leave us a cushion of about $1.5 million going into the end of the year.
I've got to tell you, that's a lot more solid than many, many other companies in this particular sector right now. Plans for 2012, more drilling, and more drilling.
More drilling, we're currently drilling at the Rochester property. We're updating resources at Wilco and Lincoln Hill that'll come out in Q2. We've got a new area that we identified at Gold Ridge, which will come out at sometime in the second half of 2012. And then on our Cortez properties, no resources yet, but a very good neighborhood. We're immediately adjacent to Barrick Gold's brand new discoveries at Red Hill and Gold Rush, and we plan to spend $1 million on each one of those properties, Garden Gate Pass and Patton.
It's going to be a really exciting year. Let's change horses a little bit here, change wagons, I guess is a better way to put it. Let's talk a little bit about what Bill Howald thinks about the future for gold and silver. You know, I was on a show this morning. The host of the program couldn't believe that I was continue to be bullish on gold and silver. I told him, I said, I can't believe that you're not, you know, please explain to me why you're not bullish. You know, and I got his reasoning, and as listeners to this show are aware, I'll talk to anybody and I'll listen to anybody. I don't think I'm the prettiest baby in the nursery by any stretch of the imagination. But from an industry standpoint, Bill, what do you think?
Well, you know, gold is money, there's no doubt about it, and if you look at the underlying fundamentals of gold, nothing has really changed. Right now we're going through a period where the dollar is strong because we're the best, worst house in the neighborhood, right? But eventually people are going to come back and have another look at gold and silver, and I think we're setting ourselves up for a giant rally.
I don't see how they can avoid it, Bill, and the reason I say that is on Monday there started to be some real trepidation in the European markets because of the potential action of Greece going back to the drachma. I was asked on this show also what I thought about that, how that would impact gold. I think that if that happens, and my guess is it probably will, but if that happens, I think that more attention is going to be drawn to gold, number one, because the gold sector right now is minuscule in terms of the entire financial sector. Okay, having said that, I think that minusculeness is going to increase because people are going to realize, you know, here's the currency, here's a major currency that's in big trouble. Now they're going, you know, they'll go to the US dollar, that's the obvious place to go. The US dollar is going to be in big trouble. I have to tell you, I can't believe that anybody couldn't be bullish on gold right now, Bill.
Well, you know, forget Greece. What about California? Wake up one...
$10 billion in deficit. Amazing, you know, and the governor says we have to make some changes, and a lot of his constituents, they're not going to stand for it. How stupid is that?
Yeah, that's right.
Makes
how do you not know that you're $9 billion more in the hole than you thought?
Absolutely amazing to me, you know, and then on top of that, the gentleman who was just voted in France, you know, devout socialist. It's a very rich devout socialist, I have to say, but you know, I don't understand psychology, Bill. I don't understand why people don't get it. If you don't have the money, you can't spend it. And what's going to happen? They're going to go to gold. And you guys are going to be in the catbird seat.
I think so. I mean, I think people will start seeing the junior sector as a kind of a cradle of wealth and getting back into the sector. And you know, now since it's so depressed, might not be a bad time.
I don't think it'd be a bad place to go at all right now. Let's take 20 seconds here. Do me a favor. How can people find out more aside from going to our site? How can they find out more about Rye Patch?
Go to the internet and type in www.ryepatchgold.com. That'll take you to our website. There's full disclosure there, and you can see the projects and pictures and get an idea of what Rye Patch is all about.
There you go. Bill, thank you so much.
Thank you.